All right, testing 1, 2. Am I on? I inked and colored this image a couple years back for practice. It'd be cool to see what I do with it. Nice. Yeah, I'm not gonna ink it. All right, let's see. Am I here? Can someone confirm or deny that I'm live? I just want to be sure. I think I am. Yeah, all signs point to yes. All signs point to yes. Sword says we're good. All right, good. Rare Jackals, welcome. The 2-year member, the rare 2-year channel member. What's up? Hey, Angela, how's it going? Francis, good luck. I like your name. So yes, welcome everyone. It is what day is it? It is Sunday. I was about to say it's Wednesday. It's streaming day. It's not Wednesday. It usually I was streaming on Wednesday and now I'm streaming on Sunday. And thank you, baby. Can you close the door, please? Thank you. All right. Where was I? But yeah, Sunday, we're here. I'm gonna do it with my pen. How is everybody? How's life? All right, so we're gonna start. Let's set some layers up here. So I've got this from joemadart.com, by the way. So shout out to them. Go. It's a huge, massive collection of. I think it's like everything he's ever drawn that made it to the internet. So if you're looking for fun stuff to draw, to color, and where is my? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I was looking at OBS trying to find where I'm typing inks, so sorry. We're off to a rough start. The inks are on this layer. I put them on a transparent layer with a mysterious button right here. Or you can go to Edit and convert brightness to opacity. I could not think of this phrase. That'll do the same thing. This is going to be our flats. If I can type. We're doing it old school. Like, I'm actually going to color something and like tell you what I'm doing and explain it. It's very, very new thing I'm trying out. No, but yeah, we're going to start with our Lasso tool. And you're going to make sure that anti-aliasing is off, as always. And do I want to do point to point or do I want to do freehand? I kind of do both, so I'm going to start point to point on this, and we'll see how I feel. I think it's easier on my hand or wrist or arm to do point to point sometimes, and so that's what I'm doing. You're out of town with a friend, you can't stick around. Where are your priorities, Jason? No, that's cool, man. That's awesome. Enjoy your time with your buddy. Thanks for thinking of me enough to even come by. Where did I start? I also am not a big fan of making like hugely massive selections that like, you know, like if this app crashed right now, I've already lost that and I'd already be upset. So pretty often I will stop and just fill that. And you know what? For the sake of YouTube video thumbnail accuracy, we're going to use the right colors because I've got a theory that I want to test that me using a bunch of random flat colors and creating an ugly image for the first like 30-45 minutes of the stream, which is what I tend to do. Like maybe not the best thing. It's like, oh, flats don't matter. They do for the performance art that is YouTube. So because I've noticed, like even on the thumbnails, just like scribbling in a spot of light in the dark or a dark spot in the light. It's like you already get more views. I didn't do that today because I just didn't do it today. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Hey, Aramis. Thank you, baby. Hey, buddy. You want to come see the people on the internet? No? Okay. All good for a Sunday. Nice. Oh, I looked away. What's happening? What did I do? Where was I going? All right, let's just hit escape. I've already lost what I was doing. Yeah. Sorry. Mind blown. But yeah, and this is not a huge like high res image or anything. You can see it's pretty JPEG artifacty. I should probably increase the resolution on it. And I probably will at some point. My only complaint with Clip's point-to-point lasso is that the boxes are so big that when you try to click like close to something and you already have a where did my selection go? I'm losing my mind. Did I hide it? I'm off to a rough start. I'm a professional. I have been coloring for 12 years. But I can't flat today. Alright, let's just do it the old-fashioned way. Sorry. This is hilarious. I don't flat very much, to be fair. Usually I pay someone for this. And now you really understand their worth watching this stream. But I'm going to make a big selection around the silhouette first and ignore everything inside, because once I've got that outside edge, I can use that outside edge to speed up the rest of the flats. You know. I don't understand what... I think there might be something wrong with my tablet. Like, quick... This is so weird. This is so weird. There it is. There it was. I saw it for a second. You guys saw that, right? Okay. There's my selection. It's only showing up... Nope. It's in quick mask mode. I don't know what's happening. I might need to restart my computer or something. Let's see. I'm going to save this. This is so strange. I'm very sorry. There's like a bunch of people watching for early on a Sunday. I'm really sorry about this. Okay, I'm just going to close clip. And we're going to try this again. If I know, where did I save that to? No, here we go. Hold on. Sorry, people. If you're just joining, I am an idiot, and no, my computer is acting up. Of course it is. Sort by, that should be today. Every time I hit quick mask, it would remove the selection. So that's not good. Let me try one more time. Da da da. Now it's working. Okay. Crisis averted? Maybe? How's everybody doing? Oh, hey, Nelson. There's still a part of me that would love to switch to being a colorist. Go for it, man. You're a good colorist. Now, let's see if this works. Yay. It's so much easier to see the quick mask than it is the little marching ants. You know? So when I'm testing what I'm doing, it's just way faster. Yeah, and then I think once I'm done, I'm gonna try to. I should have ran this through one of those like upscalers. Those things do. Again, the AI stuff is doing a really good job. But no, I don't want to affect the line quality or anything. So I'm just gonna paint it over pencils. You had to make a copyright notice on Etsy. Man, that's all Etsy is one big copyright infringement. Like yesterday, I was looking for a badge, a Starfield badge for my car because I am a dork. And I've got an N7 Mass Effect badge back there that I've had Honda people at the dealership ask me. They were like, which product, which line is this? The N7. We haven't seen that trim. I'm like, oh yes, that was when I served on the what was it, the USSS Normandy or whatever it was, Mass Effect. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm on there looking for Starfield badges, and it's just pages and pages and pages and pages of, you know, stickers and you know, little pins and all these sort of things. So like, you know, fan art's always been a thing. It's always going to be a thing. But I don't know where they draw the line. I think it'll all say like, it'll say inspired, like Starfield inspired. You know. Oh, hey, Mr. Powerlifting, how's it going? Are you off today? You have to work today? Yeah, when I streamed on Wednesdays, that viewer does IT work, and I think all the IT work ceases. So I'm just checking on the company, really. It's my concern for the company's well-being. Really. I wonder if it wouldn't be faster. I don't know. Is that alias though? Oh yeah, it is. After about 40 pages, you regain your senses. I think the trick that you have to do it long enough to where like the big decision making like the big picture stuff becomes a little bit more second nature. Because to me, like that was the big thing early on was like, all right, I got to try, 4 things, and then the fifth thing works. And that's what that's why coloring takes a long time for a lot of people, you know? And if you can, in coloring speed, and I've said this a jillion times over the years, but coloring speed is more about speeding up the decision making, you know, to where you know what to do the first time because you've seen it all before. And, and not even that. I mean, it's not even about seeing it all before. It's just like once you sort of learn, you sort of develop an internal algorithm for the sake of, a system or whatever. Or at least I did. And that takes so much of the mental effort out of it, and it's not something you can rush or like, oh, I'm gonna do that on the next one. It's like it's just something that develops, and then over time, all of a sudden, you realize like, oh, I'm not having to do 3 or 4 things every time. It's 1 or 2, or even 3, and that's an improvement. And that's not to say that I just jump right in and go, oh yeah, I nail it every time the first time. Absolutely not. but more often than not, you're starting, if you're throwing darts, a beginner is barely hitting the board, with every one. It's like, I don't know if I'm getting anywhere. But with a little experience, it's like, well, I'm already starting pretty close, and then it's about dialing and tweaking, Having a strong autopilot. Yes. It's like, I was telling my wife this the other day, like, when it comes to like rendering light and shadow, that requires, no brain power for me at all. Like usually I can do other things and like talk and have a discussion, that sort of thing at that point, because, it's just sort of a program that's running, it feels like. But anyway, do I dare try to guess where he was going with that line right there? Almost. Pretty close. All right, so we've got our silhouette right there. And I tell you what I'm going to actually do. I'm going to let me get rid of the white on this layer. Since we only have the one character and it's a plain background and, we're not doing a whole lot with it, you can use clipping mask to sort of, as an extra selection almost, if you leave the silhouette on its own independent, transparent layer. So I'm going to make the layer below white, if I can. Oh, we're crooked. There we go. White, I said. There we go. And that way, I'm just going to call this we'll call this the canvas. I cannot. Brain not work today. Canvas. And this is not the flats, actually. We'll call this, it doesn't matter. We'll call it character. And then here's our flats. And I'm going to lock, I'm going to go ahead and just make the flats a clipping mask for now. I might change this up later, but it'll save a little bit of time. All right, so we got our one big silhouette done. We're going to start breaking this up now. I'm not going to do the clipping mask thing yet. Maybe later. So I like to start with breaking things up into the biggest possible shapes. And so we'll start with separating like her hair from the rest of her. And because I already have the selection around that edge, then I don't, yeah, I'm just going to freehand this. That point to point is so finicky around little things like this. So the only edges that I'm really concerned with separating right now are the ones that are inside, okay? That outside edge is already made. And I'm not a professional flatter. This is how I flat. A real flatter might do something different, but I don't know what they're doing. No, they're probably doing the same thing. Just did I already? Yeah, I already messed this up somehow. I'm very rusty on the flatting today. I'm telling you. I think I've already done that one twice. And I'm going to go ahead and change the color on that. And the bucket tool is only filling to, here's the bucket tool settings. Nothing is checked. Okay, there's really nothing checked there. And if you do that, then when you fill, it will respect when it runs into an edge of pixels that are a different color. And so that's why you don't have to worry about that edge. Photoshop does this too. It's not a fancy trick. Hello, Mr. Noodles. How's it going? Welcome. Decepticon Var. Hello, Bags Brothers. I see a lot of familiar names here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, did we get? Oh, we got a lot more hair. Of course, we have a lot more hair. This is Joe Mad. And comic books. So she has tons of hair. I'm just hitting the Q to look at the mask only in the quick mask mode just because it's easier to see than the marching ants, in case you were wondering. And what else? Let's go ahead and get her skin tone in here. There we go. Ooh, I really like that. That's a very nice, deep, dark red. I like that a lot. And it's fascinating to me just noticing, like, and that's why I looked at the color picker. That's why I picked it. This feels very dark on this canvas, but look at where it is in the color picker. Okay, this is for anybody new that hasn't been around the last 7 years on YouTube. This is all relative stuff, right? And so when something needs to be dark for the sake of your canvas, it's on that canvas in your color scheme, all right? Not in this box dark. Does that make sense? Like, when you're measuring what is dark and what is light on your canvas, you are looking at the spectrum of values that you've chosen. And if you have a set of values on the canvas that are very bright, you know, this white, this blue, this is really, really way up here. But that's why going to here, halfway down the color picker, creates a huge shift in value and a much darker value without having to go into the quote-unquote dark part of the color wheel and the dark or the digital color picker thing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know what I'm saying. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to make another window for this. Now that we've got this really nice silhouette, and that way I don't have to keep glancing. I'm going to probably do it anyway because I think it's faster. I kind of glance up at OBS for this, but for the sake of YouTube, now you can see what we're doing. Let's put some other values here before the algorithm blocks this video for nudity or something. Just because of what I'm doing right now with what's on the screen at the moment, this video will probably be demonetized. If it goes like anything else lately. I mean, I make like $3 off these streams. It's not like it's a lot of ad revenue, but still, it's sort of irritating. All right, and so once I've got the selection made, I just click the inside of it, and because I always have my wand set to intersect mode or select from selection, I think is what Clip Studio calls it. And so that way, when you have a selection like this, and you want to create a selection inside it, then that mode is good for that. And it will just select the flat color you've chosen and get rid of all of the the other colors there that you didn't select. So I'm just going to brighten this and about that. And again, when people tell me, like, how do you choose colors? How did you get to that color? Like, I'm looking at her skin tone, and I know that I want her little cloth thing here, shirt, quote unquote, to be a little bit lighter than the rest of the skin. So I'm just using the slider to sort of move that to the value that I want, which is about there, and then determine the hue. Do I want it green or whatever? When you use your existing colors as a starting point, then your colors feel more cohesive. They start to feel more homogeneous. If I just said, oh, her thing is really bright yellow, it's this, and I don't know, this is not a bad color or anything, but like it's not what I want. And putting it down, it feels harsh to me, and it's too bright for what I anticipated. So by going starting with a color and then shifting it into where it's going, you get a better sense of the relationship between those two colors. Because really, I didn't have to choose this brown. I knew I wanted it to be darker than her hair and lighter than her skin, so that immediately it gets rid of so many choices here. It gets rid of, like, by process of elimination, I have gotten rid of a lot of options over here just by putting myself in that range of I got to be between here and here. And of course, the hue that I'm selecting it has to be relative to what's there, So that's almost like a pro tip thing, like a colorist helpful bit of information on this channel. I know. Very rare on a stream. Very rare on streams. All right, we got more clothes to put on before we get kicked off YouTube. Is everybody following? Is everybody taking notes? The quiz is Tuesday at 7 a.m. What time is it? 30 minutes to flat this thing? That sounds about right. The pro would have been like, I did this in 5. I'm also yakking a lot, so that'll do it. Okay. Oh, we got more bands here. So this drawing, I figured today, obviously, like skin. We'll talk about skin. We'll talk about. We got a couple different textures here. What else do you guys look at with this and you're like, oh, if I was coloring this, I would wonder about what, or I would have an issue with blank. I'm just trying to think of stuff to talk about today. Same thing again here. We could go a lot of beginner colorists just go, oh, we go to white, and that's cool. We could, but we want to make them glow. We want to give them some kind of like internal thing going on. You can't have glowing things if it's white already. So, you know, go to like here, cool it off, and now we've got this little bit of range to play with within that we can, we can get some white in here. Maybe we'll just leave that. It looks nice. But yeah, save yourself some headroom for highlights on eyeballs. I know her lips are going to be darker and more saturated. Go toward green, go toward purple. I mean, if you're wearing a torn shirt, quote unquote, are you wearing makeup? I mean, really? Let's keep it natural. A little bit more natural, anyway. Do you have any brushes to download? I see you have some nice ones. They're all somebody else's. Like, I've asked a couple of quote unquote, like famous brush makers that are just good brush makers, and they're to like help me make like a signature set or something. Of course, for like a fee, like or a commission or a cut. No one's taken me up on that yet. I think they're all doing just fine without me. But I wanted, if anybody out there is interested in helping me develop that, I'll put it out in the wild again. I have a couple times, but I do need to sell a set. But everything that I use, really, I've never been a big brush development guy. Like I can download them, I can tweak them a little bit. Keyword a little bit, because I'm just not good at it, and I don't really have time or care to learn. To be honest. But yeah, if you can Google most of the names of those people and find them. Or I don't know if they're all in here, but yeah, Friendin, this Krupuk, I don't remember. You can Google that one. Just take a screenshot right now. If you're on, there you go. Ron Chan side pencil, you can Google that one. This texture, I don't know where it came from, but you can't have it. Somebody gave it to me. The dowel brushes, yeah. I mean, most of that stuff is if you check them out on the internet, you'll find them. Is that so? That's teeth, probably. Or is it leaves? Maybe it's leaves. It looks a lot like teeth. Leaves or teeth? Or jewels of some kind. Maybe that's what they are. That's what I'm gonna make them. Maybe if she's got a big jewel in the middle, maybe she's got some others here. The jewels don't really make sense with it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna make them leaves. It'll be nice to get some green in here too. And what do we want to do for this? So we do like sort of golden thing. Some kind of jewel in it. Probably. Alright, the only thing left to flat is this headpiece crown tiara. What is this? Show the setting for the one with the eyes. I didn't do anything to this brush, but that's the settings for it. I mean, it's all pressure. It's all pressure. I think it is teeth. I'm gonna change my mind again. Like, it tracks. Lovely. Thank you. Yeah, I said 30 minutes to flat this. I'm not even doing it in 30 minutes. I know this is exciting. Sorry, guys. The lighting part will be fun. And I've got a reference scene pulled up over here that we'll talk about some lighting stuff too. And try to come up with like a cool lighting setup. Are you planning to finish the entire coloring on stream? Yeah, probably so. It will not take me this long to finish it. This is the time-consuming part by far. I don't know. It depends on how detailed we want to get. I thought about really painting the hell out of this, just to see. I've never really tried that on a Joe Mad thing, but we'll see where it goes. Lovely, lovely. So there we go. 40 minutes to flat it. Not bad. Sorry, it doesn't. The time doesn't matter. I keep bringing it up just because I'm making fun of myself and how slow I am at this. Hope to see some show off with textures. We're going to be painting textures. We're not going to be like, when I talk about textures, I'm not talking about like getting a brush and that looks like it's got texture, and that's not the kind of texture we're talking about. So just to be clear, like surface textures. I don't want anyone to be disappointed. All right, so layer stack. What do we have going on here? We got the flats. I'm going to set the flats as a reference layer. I'm going to copy that to a new layer also. This is the base. And this is the flats. I'm going to lock the flats so we don't accidentally color on them. Let me lock this one. Let me just lock all of these that I'm not going to be coloring on. That way you don't accidentally screw it up. And oh, you want to see painting? Oh, okay, cool. Well, so let's start with let's start talking about some lighting first. And I think I'm going to show you guys this. I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to show you this in my reference app, what I'm looking at, and then I'm going to jump in VR for a second. I won't be able to hear myself very well, but hopefully I won't accidentally hit the mic 8 times, which I will. So, where are we going? We're going here. All right. You guys still hear me okay? And I do have a... Oh, I can check the chat. All right. Are you guys seeing my screen? All right. Everybody's hearing everything. We're seeing everything. All right. Let's turn that off. And... All right. So I've got a setup here with this light here is perfectly white. Okay, so I put this one in here to make sure that you can see the actual skin tones themselves, and make that very clear. So there's no like strong coloring in that light. There is another light source, and I'm trying to make sure I'm not about to beat up the microphone. There's another light source that I'm going to swing around that you can see here. This little red, does that red ball show up for y'all? No, it does not. So, can't really see the top of her head very well. Hold on one second. There we go. So there's a blue light I've got over here that's much softer, and it's not as intense, okay? And really what I want to point out here first is I want you guys to notice that no matter how I turn her head, there almost always maintains a like a separation, that core shadow that runs down. And I just realized you guys can't see my little marker thing. Hold on one second. I can't point anything out in this. Are you guys still seeing my screen okay? I need to import something to point with. So give me just a second. Oh, there's a flashlight. There's a lightsaber? Sure. Oh, sorry. All right, give me a second. Okay, it's a little too big right now. So let me scale that down. Okay. Is this all showing up on the screen? All right, looks like it is. Screen looks good, looks great. All right. So I want you to notice, and we can cut right into her head. I like this. I'm sorry that my hands are not this shaky. This app makes it seem like it is. But I want you to notice that in the bright part here, like this right here is the core Oh, this has physics. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. I didn't realize it would. It collides. or maybe some of it collides. All right. Okay. No more collision. So this is the what they call the core shadow. All right. So we got the brightest part here, and then it rolls around and it starts getting darker. And then you got the blue light on this side. Now, as I move this light around, I'm going to show you how, as long as I stay on this side, you'll see that it doesn't really affect the front very much, okay? The reason for that is that brighter light on the front is actually just more powerful. And so even if I put it on that side, it mostly blends in. Right? It's tinting it a little bit, but it's not really affecting it very much. And so a lot of times what you'll see in comics is that they'll put that second light source in a very dramatic position like this to make sure that that core shadow is actually like in an interesting angle, in an interesting place. And so like in this drawing, I don't know, what does she look like? What is the angle of her head? Sorry, I'm kind of eyeballing this. Something like that. So when I'm thinking about where to put my light source, I want to try to find a place to put it that creates some interesting shapes. Like it's not just about, you know, oh, the light's on the left and it's on top or whatever. Like I want to make sure that the shapes of all of these hard lines here, these soft lines here, that they actually do something interesting, you know. But anyway, I set this up in sort of a rough example, I think, of how I'm going to do the lighting in this particular piece. And I wanted to be able to show y'all that, especially with, how can I, let's see, if we turn her head, yeah, it kind of still works. Like I want you to notice how the specular highlights on her head stay in the same position relative to the lights. Okay, like that blue one is shifting around a little bit because of the shape of her head. But it's one thing I noticed in this app, that it makes it much clearer whenever you are moving around a light source, like how that affects the actual curvature. And I've learned so much, and I don't mean this to just be a plug for my course on it, but I do have a course on it, and the quality of the skins and the texture on this app has, in some of the new models, has improved tremendously. I'm just going to get really close on this. So even if you're doing sorry, I'm going to scale this down a little from my perspective, so she's not life size anymore. But I'm really impressed with how much subtlety there is. Now I have a very nice video card, but everything is frozen right now. Like there's no physics on this character, and so it will run okay. So if you guys want to check that out, there is a link in the description. But it really looks nice. The other thing that I like about this is the ability to compare what it does on different skin tones. And so like seeing how the blue light, if I put the light, let's say here, and take the blue light on this side, like seeing how the skin tones react to the light realistically has been, I have learned a lot playing around with this. And so anyway, I've been let me take this off. Sorry, I'm coming back in. Give me just a second here. All right, we're good. The what's the app name? Oh man, I'm hearing myself again. It's messing with my head. Well, what is this? Okay, so there's a link. I think there's a link in the description that will explain it. But it's a is it in here? Yeah. If you scroll down, learn my favorite reference app, VAM. There's a link to a YouTube video that explains it. It is an adult app. This is a 3D adult sandbox. I've put for the sake of this, what I figured out I could do is I actually put a, what do you call it? A plane. There's a black plane that doesn't collide with the characters that I'm keeping just, above the rest of their bodies for the sake of the video, because it's very realistic. My YouTube video is safe for work. My YouTube video, I mean, obviously there's some, girls in bikinis and things, but like there's no nudity in the video about it. But I made a video explaining it because it's the best art reference app that I've ever seen, and it's not close. Hey, hold on one second. So now? But the app is called VAM, V-A-M. But I have that pulled up over here just in case you guys are wondering, like, some of these lighting ideas. I have some screenshots and things I had taken. I don't typically do that for light reference, but for the sake of this, I thought it might be cool to look at it. How long does it take you to finish your art, start to finish? It depends. I mean, I'm a colorist primarily, so, I usually page in a couple hours, but it varies. All right. Let's start with those big shadows, because regardless of what I'm doing, if I'm doing something really simple and cartoony, or if I'm doing something really painted and detailed, I want to start with the shadows and get that big separation of light and dark done first. And so I'm going to do this. Let's just make a hard light layer on top of this. And it has been so long since I've done like a cut and grady type style around here. So I'm going to see if I can remember how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find all the places in her hair where the shadows are going to be, and I'm going to start highlighting those. And I don't have any reference for this. I am pulling it out of my ass, basically. Pardon my description. So in some of these big chunks of hair, if I want to get it to some volume, I'm putting a little bit of shadows like around them. And I'm not worried too much at this point about what would you call it? I'm not worried too much about whether it's soft or hard transitions and things. Like, I'm just thinking in terms of where are those core shadows and where are those terminators. I don't know if Terminator is the right word. I used Terminator on this channel for years. I think core shadow is actually more accurate. Terminator is something else. But again, I'm just gonna click using the flats as a reference layer with my 1 set to refer to that reference layer, so that when I click inside here, it's going to shrink all of my lassoing down to just that area. I'm doing your course on Clip Studio. If you have specific questions, what's the best place to ask? There's a discussion board in the course. You can ask there, or you can ask, there's a Discord, of course. You can ask on Discord. Totally up to you. And I'm really thinking about almost like I'm carving here, like where do the objects turn relative to where the light source is, you know? And I'm putting a little bit of a curve. Let me get it really close here. I'm putting a little bit of a curve on this little transition here. And what that does is it makes it creates like a shadow effect from this tiara thing that she's got on here. And it's curved because it's following the hair. Alrighty, what else? So this part, and what I'm looking for here, trying to figure out where these lines are. So I'm looking at this curve right here, right? And really, it's a big, wonky, ugly cylinder. We're looking at a part of it, okay? If you simplify it down to that, it's just a cylinder. All right, here's the end of it. Here's the tube. It looks like something else right now. But that means that in a cylinder, here is the shadow, right? This is a terrible kind of color to use on this. You guys can kind of see that. So the shadow goes there, right? On my cylinder. So I'm not thinking about, oh, if this is hair at this extremely interesting angle, then it would absolutely perfectly. Nah, it goes about right there. Like that's you know, that's how I'm trying to, you know, figure out where this stuff is. Something like that. Oops, whoops. Sorry, wrong layer. It's okay to ask, what are your updated thoughts on the state of AI today and its effect on the commercial art industry? For context, I work as a concept artist. You're screwed, man. We're all screwed, man. Nah, dude. I don't know, dude. Like, it's not going anywhere. Hold on, I gotta turn my AC down. It's not going anywhere, and our laws are so behind, like, what they need to be, that you won't have protections, I don't think, anytime soon, that you should have. So yeah, it's scary is what it is right now. Yeah, no, it's really insane. I guess, like, my main take is people that care about art and that appreciate handmade, man-made art will continue to pay for it. And we're seeing how everyone else values artists. That is what I am learning. Basically. So bright, sunshiny outlook there. I don't know. I really don't know. I think the next couple of years are going to be extremely weird. I've said this a lot on the channel lately, but I think we are months to single-digit years, low single-digit years away from, I want to see Storm fighting Spider-Punk in the rain on Mars for 10 minutes in the style of Pixar. You know, we're like, we're not very far away from that. And so, like, it's not just going to become about art anymore and just artists. Like, all of a sudden, like, I think other entities are going to start feeling this, you know. That, and I don't know where it ends up. I think it'll be, I mean, the world will be worse, for sure, overall. But I don't know. Like, I'm sorry, I can't find my keys today. But right now, sorry to go back to this real quick. I'm just trying to find places where we can create some shadows under these little bits of hair to make it look like it's more voluminous. I think it will increase the value of handmade art and decrease the value of commercial work and lower the amount of commission works. I think all of that is fair. Yeah. I mean, you can already see it. Like I was on some Etsy or eBay or something the other day. Or no, it was Fiverr. It was Fiverr. You know, Fiverr's like that, what do you call it? It's like a freelancing site. And it's like, you know, children's book illustrations, you know, cover art for your novel, blah, 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 blah. $10, $5, $12. And I'm like, and, you know, they look good. They look good. Like, that's the thing. They look good enough. Like, they look good enough. And if you don't know what good enough means, it's like, look at some of the stuff that's got put out with like 3 fingers and 8 toes, and they're like on the shelf. Like, they don't care, you know? So, I don't know, man. I don't have high hopes for much of this to go in any kind of positive way, unfortunately. It's not the reason that I am in massage school right now, but it definitely factored in. Like, it did factor in. Probably goes the same direction as VR. You say that now because VR stuff's expensive, but it won't always be. You know, don't forget that. Right now, VR has priced out most people. Like, you know, it's not that the tech's not cool. Like, I was showing my buddy like Half-Life Alyx the other day, and that movie that's just a couple years old. He's like, I don't think people know about this. I'm like, no, they do. It's just by the time you add up the VR and the computer to run it, and you know your pricing, you know, you're in video card competition with, you know, miners now and stuff, and crypto miners and stuff. So, yeah, it's a tough thing to get into. But yeah, I think long term it'll be there. It's just it's still early right now. It's still too early right now. Oh, by the way, in case you're wondering, I'm sort of seeing this as just a big shape. It's a big, you could say it's a sphere even. If my shadows are down here, then that terminator, that core shadow would kind of fall down through this way. So that's why these lines are kind of, these shadow lines are kind of drifting around this way. So I'm kind of mentally following that, so that this is light and this is dark. Where a lot of people that I see have issues is, you know, it's like light on top, light on top, light on top of this, light on top of this, light on top of that. I don't know what to do here. Light on top of that, light on top of that, light. You know, they just keep going. Like, yeah, there should be some logic to it. You know, And being able to visualize things in 3D is not a skill that everybody has. So if you're looking at this going, I'm sorry, this is beyond my capabilities, I think you can learn it. I really do. It has to do with simplifying what you're looking at. Again, like you're not looking at hair, you're looking at a big lumpy sphere that needs to be separated into light and shadows. I have a weird job. Sorry. Now I'm forgot. Am I doing lights or shadows here? Lights. Shadows, I mean. And I don't think I'll finish this today, by the way. I've spent all this time on the hair and talking about AI, and I don't know. Did you say you're changing your career? No, I'm not. I'm still coloring. I'm coloring full time. But I am in massage school right now because that's going to be a new my new side hustle. I got to change things up every couple of years, you know, keep things interesting. I wouldn't want to settle into anything. I might become competent at something, so I really have to change it up. No, I'm gonna be doing massage stuff like on the side or whatever. I got lost. Where am I going? There we go. You guys ever start like a cut like that, and in the middle of it go, what is happening? What is life? What is going on? This is looking a little busy through here, so I'm going to try to simplify this a little bit. You don't want anything too like high contrasty right in the vicinity around the face, like. So I'm trying to keep that a little bit simpler. I feel a little less panicked than I did. I listened to a lot of discourse on AI. To break it down, AI art has made rendering pretty pictures a cheap commodity. Anyone can do it now. What artists still have is taste and original design. So do I think there will for now still be used for artists in commercial industry? I think the best bet for folks like us is to incorporate AI into our workflow because our peers will. Yes, and I was saying that from the beginning, like especially at least if you're not like iterating maybe in AI, you're probably going to be behind a lot of people. And what I mean is like, you know, when you've got, and it's not my industry, but you know, you have an art director, I guess, that comes and say, hey, can you give me like 4 versions of this guy, and we're going to pick one or whatever. That kind of stuff. It's like if I do a sketch real quick and like dump that into an AI that can like spit out 8 variants in 30 seconds, then I've just chopped, you know, hours and hours and hours of labor out of the process, especially for like, you know, the early part of the process. That's how I think that's how, at least for now, I think like real artists can probably take advantage of it, you know. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting, man. Like the whole world's weird, man. So I don't know. I don't really know what to. I have no idea what to expect. We'll all find out together. This is like the most detailed cell shaded hair I've ever done. I'm pretty sure. We're setting a record here. Let's see. I don't like how I chopped that shape off. Yeah. So now there's like, see, because Joe's got this nice little flowy thing right there, right? So I did that right there and didn't like it, so I got rid of it. What else? Personal Kickstarter projects will be valid. That's what I plan on doing. Like I mean, I've got a book that I'll be doing at some point, and there's way too much going on in my life right now. But that'll be my plan, is to Kickstarter the thing, because you really you don't need a publisher anymore. Like you don't need permission, you know. Um, so yeah. Boy, Joe might draw. It's a close battle for me. Rebecca Isaacs versus Joe Mad for best hair. Like best hair in comics. Oh, that I should do some of that. Because that way it looks like you've got these little bits that are sticking up out of the shadows. That looks nice. Sorry, it's like I'm just like, I found a trick. Let's just make that whole thing blue. What made you switch from Photoshop to Clip Studio? A couple years ago, after being harassed by my community for years. No, like after like the 1,000th person told me I should try it, um, I did, and I liked it, and now I use it. That's it. No, really, it's about reference layers. Um, Reference layers make me twice as fast, in I would say, in Clip Studio than Photoshop, and that's not an exaggeration. Um, and all that is, if you weren't here for it when I explained it earlier, is like right now I'm gonna switch to the wand. I'm gonna click here, shrink my selection to the shape of this flat on that layer that I'm not on. My flats are here. So it's pulling my selection from the flats layer without me having to go there. The only way to do that in Photoshop is with like actions and scripts and trickery and whatnot. Like um there's no easy way to do that. sorry, we have to go back and add all of this everywhere. Not everywhere, just in some places. Because it looks great. And it looks like hair. Someone's like, hey, he finally found it. Cool. No. I didn't invent this trick, guys. I promise. Whoops. I'm kind of with you, Mustard Custard. People are really freaking out about this right now, rightfully so, but it's a change that will affect everything forever. Like, and we just have to figure it out. You know? And I think we will. Eventually. All right. What else? What else? I'm just deleting right now, by the way. If you're wondering, I'm just selection delete. I've got a hand on delete because on this layer is just, that's all this is right now. And I do think, sorry, I do think I'm just going to detail the crap out of this eventually. We might work on this for a couple streams because I'm just seeing all these little lessons that we can do. And so instead of like running through this in like an hour, which I probably could have, I know I could have, let's turn this into like a big project thing. Now would be a good time to insert ads. This is what YouTube is telling me. Keep it real, YouTube. I'm not going to insert any ads, in case you were wondering. Boy, I keep doing that. There we go. And some of you guys are like, man, this is like really awesome, and how did you do that? And number one, the drawing is freaking amazing. Okay, step one. Remember that. But no, when you do have a good backbone, when you're coloring over like structures that make sense, it's much easier to color. Like I've colored a lot of hair where like, you know, it's like and it's like, I mean, this is a slight exaggeration, but it's like I can't build around that. Okay, I mean, maybe I could come up with a few places to like put some highlights or something that like wouldn't look horrific, but like there's no underlying frame, right? Like this is solid as a rock. Okay, like someone could take this and go build one of those $200 Todd McFarlane statues with it. Like it's all there. So just remember that. To get the selection from one layer to another, just control click a layer in PS. But what if my layer looks like that? It's not the same thing. If I control click that layer, I'm getting the silhouette. That's not what I want. You know, I can select her hair, I can select her skin, I can select her eyes, and I'm not on the flats layer. Like, so yeah, that's definitely faster. Finding you making the CSP stuff and then going back and watching you all hesitant to try it in older videos is quite amusing. I bet it was. Good to see you, man. I hadn't seen you for a while. If I want to use different shades of the same color on my drawing, what are the options to do that beside the multiply effect? If I want to use different shades of the same color, what do you, like, don't worry about multiply mode. Forget effects. If this is the color and you want to make a lighter version of that color, like, just go up on the color wheel. Like don't rely on layers to do things if you don't have to. Different shades of the same color is everything in that box. That's all the shades of that shade of blue. You know what I mean? So like, I mean, yeah, you can maybe duplicate that with what a multiply layer and color with gray, but that doesn't, I mean, it's not really right, okay? Like, if I make this, all of her shadows like this, all right, let's just say for the sake of, how do I want to do this? All right, she's standing in a doorway. There we go. Okay. So this doesn't look bad, right? Like, it looks okay. The blue, the red is a darker shade of red. Exactly, okay? I'm used to using gray, okay? So all gray can do, there's no color being introduced. So all this can do is get darker. It stays in this box. It doesn't shift at all around, the hues don't shift at all. You go to the hair. We're starting here, we're ending here. We're not going outside of that box. So if you want to do this, this is how you do it. Okay? It looks like a shadow, correct. But in the real world, shadows are not gray unless you're in a perfectly white room with no other shadows and no other colors bouncing around. It's just, it's almost non-existent in the real world. Okay, like in the real actual world, it almost doesn't exist. Okay, and it looks okay, but it doesn't look great because shadows should be tinted. Listening? Shadows should be tinted with the color of your environment. If we're doing real, okay, for everybody listening, like, you can do shadows whatever color you want. You can do shadows any color you want. If I make this cool blue instead, okay, one, it just looks, it looks more awesome. Okay, to go from there to there, okay, this feels a little dead compared to that. Okay, just about any color that I choose is going to look more interesting than gray. Okay, because like here she's standing in a, you know, let's say the room is you know, it's got green tint to it. Like all this stuff works a little bit better and just looks more interesting because the shadow is actually tinting it with a color. Okay, it doesn't have to be a strong color. Like, I'm not saying, like, I mean, it has to be super intense. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. But tint it a little some way. Like, don't, you know, you never want to, it's very rare that you're going to color with gray or white. The same thing applies, you'll ask that next week when you I'm kidding. No, when you get to highlights, the same thing. You color with white, it looks okay, but it looks kind of boring, you know? So tint your shadows and lights is my advice. It's only gray when you live in a black and white movie. That's right. Let's see. I'm just trying to catch up on the chat. Good to see the lemon again. This was one of the tips that really helped my work pop. Awesome. That's good. I still owe you for saving me hundreds of hours with AI upscaling, which I prefer. Oh, okay. Awesome. All right. So like on this piece, like I'm using a I'm just using hard light mode, which is doing multiply when it's darker than 50%, and it screens when you're doing greater than 50%. So it's multiply mode effectively with screen mode. And I'm using this blue color to tint her hair. But I could have, you know, if I go into this layer and start choosing other colors, like all this stuff looks pretty cool because it's really about the value. It's not really about the color. Like I could literally do this in any of these colors and around the rainbow, and it would probably be okay. You know, so anyway, keep that in mind. I tend to cut corners a lot, remind myself to not take shortcuts if I can help it. It just makes everything look really dead, especially skin. Especially skin. All right. So I tell you what, I moved my light source around on my reference. I didn't really mean to. So hold on one second. I need to fix this real quick. And I really need to take some screenshots. So I don't have to worry about this. Alright, so I'm going to move the camera back a little. And do that like Rembrandt lighting thing. Or try to. I'm trying to get a good sense of where all the forms are. Something about like that. Pretty dang close. Pretty dang close. So the way to get different shades of the same color is to experiment with the color wheel. I don't know if we're using shades the right way. And after this, we can move this to the Discord maybe. But shades of the same color, technically, are just you're adding a darker color to another color. You know, that's a shade, I think. But yeah, in comics, I don't really think in those terms necessarily. But the answer is almost always to experiment. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to try to mark out all of the places that we have shadows. Oh, and I didn't do her eyebrows. Not a whole lot here to do. Lovely. Maybe it's Hue. Maybe it's Maybelline. Alright, so that's coming. Sorry, I'm looking at this reference, trying to figure out. Like there. Get the bottom of this lip, bottom of that lip. That goes down and around. And I don't always use, actually I rarely use lighting reference, but I thought for this it would be a fun little experiment. So again, just click that, and I'm just going to drop a color in here. It doesn't matter what it is to begin with. And actually, I'll show you. If I use the same color, all right, on that I used in the hair, okay, and I'm considering this like she's under like basically a you know a whitish light and a cool background right now, warm light, cool background. So if I choose, especially in these cyans, they're very neutralizing when it comes to uh, skin colors, because you got a really warm skin tone. It keeps popping up for me to insert ads. There's 53 people watching this stream. They wanted me to insert ads so they can make 17 cents off of me. I'm not inserting any ads. Anyway, it's very neutralizing. It really grays things out. Okay, and so you kind of have to compensate for that. All right, I'm going to start by taking some saturation out of it. Okay, because as we're moving across the color wheel, through it, if we're going toward like the desaturated center, then you're going from like the orangest and warmest side through to less saturated, through gray into the saturated part of the cool side, you know, so you gotta have to pass through gray. So if I desaturate that, it's going to warm it up. Okay, all I'm doing is desaturating it. Okay, now I can also tint this. I can move the hue around, and if I wanted to shift that around, but I really just going to leave it less saturated. I think that looks fine for now. And I'm going to finish up my rendering. I forgot to take out this. That goes down, around, and something like that. We're in the ballpark anyway. Lovely. May I ask how you active the red view to see the area you select? In Clip Studio, it's just Q. Hit the letter Q, and it will pull up the quick mask feature, and let you just. And what quick mask does is you can like paint a selection in, you know, if you wanted to. But I don't use it like that very often. I just use it to see the selection, because it's harder to see the little marching ants. Like they're on there right now, but it's easier to do that. So, anyways. So I'm going to grab that color that I used on the skin, and I might take some more saturation out of that. I'm going to darken it a little. I'm trying to decide where I want this. Right around there, I think. When will you one day color a Katana Kin panel? I don't know. I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. Oh, whoops, wrong color. And right now, I'm really just worrying about the skin. I'm not really worrying about much else. This color ended up being like a very desaturated kind of a purple color, because when you take you know, the warm red skin like this, or reddish skin, you add a cool light source to it. You add blue to purple, blue to red. What do you get? You get purple. So that's why that works in this case, and why it looks right anyway. one trick, if you got like fabric and you want to show like that it's laying on something, I'm gonna leave the shadow close, like it's against the skin, but as it gets to here, I'm gonna pull it back some, so it's like it's being lifted a little bit there at the end, and it gives a little bit of a feeling that the fabric is not just stuck to the skin necessarily. Would it be bad form to suggest a fix? Yes. I'm not interested in your feedback at this point. Thank you, though. Because the thing is, I'm not done, and I'm working on it. Damn, he says. No, sorry, it's a huge pet peeve of mine, actually. So yeah, not a fan. I don't come to your job, tell you how to do it, and I think that's fair enough. I think it's called backseating. that was the first time I ever heard that. I was watching there's a streamer I used to follow a lot more named Spreezy. I think he's from Croatia, and he used to do a lot of PUBG. And I didn't even play PUBG, but this guy was just funny, and he was good at the game. And he would say no backseating. And so I stole that for a while. I'm going to tell people no backseating. Have I worked with 2000 AD? Not directly. I worked on Judge Dredd one time, but it was the IDW Judge Dredd. Like IDW / 2000 AD or something, you know, like it said. So not 2000 AD proper, but I did get one issue of Judge Dredd, which I will gladly put in parentheses after my name. Did it one time. Yeah, I've got a couple of over the years, like I've gotten a lot of fun sort of one-off gigs that, like, you know, they come, they go, you never hear from them again. But, you know, it was like a fill-in thing, you know, like the guy had been doing a pretty long run. I'm going to change these shadow colors, by the way. They're not good. Not for this. Well, it's not that they're not good. I just don't care for them. Like bone is not as reflective as skin. So like the little bit of coomph in the environment I'll have to throw that word in. The amount of coolth in the environment would not affect the bone as much as the skin. So I'm taking a little bit more saturation out of that. It's a subtle thing, but it's how it works. And the same thing with this, like, this isn't a bad color for this, but it's meant to be, gold or something. So, or I'm gonna make it gold anyway. I guess this would be like the one thing on this layer that is not shadows. Like I had to do a Rick and Morty cover one time, and I got to do, well, a bunch of Batman characters one time. I am about to get. I got another gig at DC. It's a short gig, but I'm doing a thing with Rebecca Isaacs. Was the Might Before Christmas or something, like some kind of Christmas special? It's like a 17-page like short thing. It's not like the whole issue. It's a little anthology, Christmas anthology, I think. But that'll be fun. Awesome, Rockstar. Yeah, Clip can do a lot. I mean, people are making movies with Clip these days. It animates, it does all sorts of cool stuff. All right, for these bandages, so I kind of just follow the contour of the arm first. And then I want to get into here. Maybe that's a shadow. And that will help to give these a little bit more depth. It's subtle. So if I want to do a shadow under for this thing, again, it just kind of helps to sell that there's some depth there. Now, it doesn't look right because this is in an area where it would be compressed quite a bit, isn't it? So let's get rid of that. It wouldn't be that big at all. Or not the way he's drawn it, anyway. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Now this might be a little bit looser up here. Oh, I did that in the quick mask mode. Yeah, I messed that up. All right. What else? Oh, we got more shadows down here that I haven't done yet. So sometimes it's easier to like put the whole area in shadow and then like, or at least for me, and then like chop out where you don't want it. Like that. Have you guys been watching Ahsoka? It started slow, but it's gotten really good the last couple episodes. No spoilers, please. Yeah, I'm not spoiling nothing. Do you choose your colors you're going to use on a piece in advance? Um, or do you wing it? I don't know. Wing it implies something that's not going on. I don't know. It's not winging it, but I, I don't know. I don't know what you mean by choose colors in advance. Like I got a plan kind of in my head, but I don't have a color sketch for this. I'm going by. It's been pretty neat art wise. I feel like the world building is surprisingly logical. My only complaint about it is the lighting. The cinematography is horrible. And in like the first couple episodes, it gets better like 3 or 4 episodes in. But it's like they were allergic to showing someone's silhouette. Like it was just dark people on dark backgrounds on dark what it was just it's just dark. And I don't know, and it's weird to me because like Dave Filoni directed all these things, like he's got an eye for it. It's just I don't know. They really dropped the ball on the lighting in that show. I don't know, and part of it might be that the volume they're filming in or something. I don't know. That's the other thing that kind of bugged. If I didn't know about that circle green screen thing they film in that projects the background on it, if I didn't know that existed, I might not have noticed. But boy, they milked the hell out of that thing in that show. There are so many like perfectly round, environments that are just so happen to be the exact same size as their filming thing. Like, and what I'm talking about, it's like a big circle, and they can project a 3-dimensional background all the way around and film in there. And that's what they're doing on that show a lot. Like just shake it up a little bit, man. All right. Let's see. Shadows. Where were we on shadows? So this arm. Whoops. All right, so this is kind of a complex. She's like twisting and her hips are turned and okay. So kind of like a stage play? Absolutely. That's the dark side version. Oh, you got it by the Blu-ray light side? Yeah, for real. All right. So I'm gonna work on this shadow on her core here and probably wrap this up. This is not done, I don't think, even though it looks good and it could probably be done. It's not gonna be done. So I'm gonna draw a wireframe. Well, I need to sketch out some lines here first. This comes all the way down This kind of goes that way. This goes that way. Actually, let's make this a little bit easier. I'm not really doing abs. This is like, consider this like a wireframe. So I've got a kind of a cylinder situation here, but this is at a different angle. This is like this. And then this is all kind of like this. All right. So, like, when shadows fall on something like this, on a cylinder, it ends up being a little bit of a, what is it, a parabolic curve or something like that, I think it is. It's kind of complex. It kind of does something like that, I think. And then we can make that a light shape. So this would all be light. This would be dark. That's what I'm seeing. When people are, where do the shadows go? Well, so to start with, so the same thing I'm going to do with the hair, I'm going to do here. I'm going to take these shapes, we're going to block them into like some big, simple, basic shapes, and then from there we'll carve in out of those. So I'm going to leave my ugly thing there. I'm going to draw this going down this way, this going down here. Maybe this does that, that does that. Did I do all that in one? Oh, we don't need it there. Just turn that off. Did I draw? What layer is that on? Oh, I drew it on that layer. Okay, let's back up. My stomach just grumbled loud enough for you guys to hear. Okay, let's try that again. So we're going down this way, over this way, round, down. Boom. All right, and now we can get rid of that. All right, so we're in the ballpark. All right. Now, I'm going to start sort of contouring this a little bit around these shapes a little bit better, right? And I might take some away. Whoops. I keep doing the wrong button. This is the one I'm trying to cut out, I think. Do you have a tutorial on skin tones? I don't know if, I mean, sort of. Yeah, how to choose good skin tones. That was 7 years ago. And there's like the moral of the story is it doesn't really matter what your skin tones are, but spoiler alert. But yeah, I do talk a little bit about that there. I might be getting too fancy. All right, well, we're in the ballpark. And what else? What else? Oh, I would probably. I don't like this tangent. And this actually sort of curves under. Now this is a very challenging angle to try to pull out of my head. I would show. I can do this in my app, but I'd have to set it up first off stream because it is it's very realistic. It's very, very realistic. So I just have to make sure they're like completely clothed. All right. Well, I think this is a pretty good stopping point for this one. We're able to get the all of the shadows done very specifically. Almost all of them. So next time, we'll pick this up with highlights. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. That's the ticket. And probably some deeper shadows. And I kind of want to try like a stylized, like maybe paint this one eventually. But this one, I don't know. You could call this one right now. It looks good. Like his work is so solid, and I like where it is. But we can push this a lot more, I think. All right, let me go through the questions and make sure I haven't missed anything. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to ask. I don't mind sticking around for that. So let's see. This is the kind of art I'm glad I'm subscribed for. Thank you a while back from Game City Savior. I didn't see that. Great demonstration. Thank you. Podcast recommendations. I don't listen to anything to do with comics or art in my podcast. I listen to Mark Maron, and that's basically it. Like, and sometimes Conan O'Brien needs a friend, but yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for the stream. Good vibing. Thank you for coming by, man. Good to see you again. What is the hardest or challenging art that you colored in your past work? Sorry for the English. Your English is fine. Your English is great. Way better than whatever. I can't speak your language at all. So, hardest or most challenging art? That's an interesting question. What have I been challenged by lately? I don't know. A challenge? A challenge. I'm thinking about it. I'm going through, like, I've got some covers I did recently, but they're all with, like, really experienced artists. And so the problem solving is all very simple. I mean, that really, coloring is all about problem solving, like at every level, you know. And so, oh, español, what? Hablo un poquito? Maybe? No, not even a little. And my accent is horrible. I don't know about challenging. I that's the part, or hard. I don't know that I would define anything I've done as being hard. Usually, I'll put it this way: if something is hard, it's because I'm having to work very hard. And what I mean by that is, like, if, let's say I'm working with like a less experienced artist, and that can sometimes be a challenge because there are expectations, and especially when it comes to things like framing and composition and things like that, that you don't always know as a beginner artist or as someone early in their career. And usually, if I have a challenge on a project, it's because of some issue like that. It's not because of anything like specific about the art, you know, because even if you've got something that's like incredibly complex with a lot of stuff to do, I'm still going to break it down into smaller pieces and think about it that way, you know. There's one piece that comes to mind that, as far as just complexity, was pretty insane. Let me see if I can find this real quick. What? What was the name of that? Oh, okay. Yeah, I did a corporate gig one time. For a company called Thinkific. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my trying to find it real quick. I've got everything. It's in this Dropbox somewhere. Oh, there it is. This is just a really complex piece. And let's see, let's download that. But I'll show you how we uncomplicated it. And it'll kind of make sense what I'm saying, hopefully. I need to save this file before I lose it. Hold on one second. Okay, that's saved. So this was going to be a big poster. All right. Um, and there's a lot going on. It's very, very dense. And there's lots and lots and lots of detail. Okay. Let me bring all this over here. And I'm just going to kind of zoom around this real quick just to give you an idea of like how much detail there is here. Because it's nutty. Okay. This was drawn by Rebecca Isaacs and colored by me. Anyway, you get the idea, all right? So even within this piece, it's like the first thing I did was, you know, we had the focal point that is the company going public, and they this was going to be, this is their, you know, their ticker thing or whatever. And so that really, when it comes down to it, is the centerpiece as far as like what's most important for the piece. When someone walks up to this hanging on the shelf in the, you know, what do you call it? You know, in the hallway in this place, they're going to see this first because it's the only thing on the image that has this much red in one spot. It's the only place with that much white, and it's the only place with these sort of colors all appearing together, okay? Like that little box, the focus at that scale becomes just the logo, okay? And so there's the big picture of, I'm going to set up a cool, mostly cool background. Then I'm going to break that pattern with a warm, you know, logo here. So the whole thing has that kind of cool tint to it. But now we can go into any one of these little individual vignettes or the collage, whatever you want to call it. If we look at just this little section, I'm really treating this as like its own little canvas, okay? And so I have a pattern I formed of this light green into this, you know, warm orangey color in the background. There's lots of details, lots of stuff going on, but the colors are all very close to that family, okay? So once I've set up that pattern, I then break that pattern, okay? So I break it with the darker colors on the lines, the darker values on the girl, the little spot of blue on, you know, this little device she's holding with the green thing, and even her red hair, it's a little bit redder than everything else around it. And so in that little section, you've got your own little mini canvas. That is it has its own role across the state of the canvas, but it also has its own little mini focal point and background, right? And you can go to any section of this and sort of play that same little game of, here's my canvas. You know, in this one, I set up a very simple, just greenish blue background. We're underwater. Again, break that pattern with warmer colors, with blue colors, with pink, with red, with, you know, getting away from that background on each individual character. Same thing here, dark background, light foreground. And then here, you know, the light table, his skin is dark, his hand is dark. So it's about the big chunks of contrasty areas first. And then once you get into each one of those areas, you're treating it almost as its own thing, you know? And as long as you're always keeping that big picture in mind, then that's a good way to work. Now if all of a sudden I thought that, like, oh, well, this would be cool if that was that color, or, you know, he needs some, this brush is so slow, I'm not even doing anything, it's still going, I'm gonna switch brush, or like, he really needs some white pants. Well, now what? I've messed up my pattern. Now I've got these like chunks of white. What are they doing? Like, maybe they accomplish something, you know, they don't in this, but maybe they accomplish something in this little orb, but then it throws off the whole piece, you know? And so, like, that's really obvious to say, but it's one of those things that, like, it's how you kind of keep an eye on the big picture while, you know, still being able to get into all the details. The details, if you'll notice in this, very often are all very similar to each other. It's like there's lots of details here. But if we look at these colors, like they're all really close together on the color wheel. You know, it's a desaturated green, it's a desaturated orange, a desaturated yellow. So when you look at a where's my color wheel? I don't have a color wheel. But if we were looking at a round color wheel, like these are all actually really close together because they're desaturated. How many days was this to color? I don't know. It was a couple. Anyway, hopefully that answers your question. Like, the point that I'm making in all of that is that, like, the level of detail does not correlate to complexity for me. You know, and I get that question a few different ways at different times, but it's the same artist as Money Shot, Dylan, but it's not the same property. But anyway, thanks so much for the question, guys. I enjoyed the stream today. We'll pick this up next week and do some more stuff to this. Thanks again for watching. Check the links in the description, click stuff, click a button somewhere, and see you all in the next one. Take care.